the reality is that a baby born premature is not, let me use Nigerian language. It's like it's not done. You are cooking food and then the food is not done and you want to eat it. So if you want to talk about the baby is not fully formed. That's the best way to describe it in a layman's language. So,
hello, and hello again. You are welcome to this channel where we enlighten ourselves, we inspire, we inform, we educate, and we create awareness about things that we all need to know about. And I am so blessed to have with me a schoolmate from Fejikola. You know, I always bring out Fejikola girls because they are loaded with so much information. So I have with me a lovely lady who has been through what you will call an experience. And today's topic is actually about premature babies. So we are here to listen to my friend. We went to the same school together. Her name is Tokwe. So you are welcome, Tokwe, for finding time out of no time to educate us and to create an awareness about premature babies. So I would like you to introduce yourself to us properly. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bumi. Thank you for inviting me over. Thank you for this platform. I'm always very happy to talk about prematurity and premature babies because it's an opportunity to share the kind of awareness that I didn't have when I had my baby. And I know that it will make a lot of difference for anyone who finds themselves in that situation. And thank you for the good work you're doing. I've watched a lot of your videos on your channel, and I think that you're doing very, very well in educating, society and girls in particular. So we appreciate that. Now, a little about myself. My name is Temitope Adeomi. So I'm at Premi Dwells on Instagram and Twitter. I am a mom of a premature baby. My baby was born at 32 weeks, but he was also born with very low birth weight, 800 grams. So there's a long story behind the pregnancy period and what happened before that. But then he had to come as a premature baby.
So thank you very much for that introduction. Like I said, you've been through it, and that's why you are the most qualified person to talk to us about what parents go through. Is it rosy? Is it something it's just like a walk in the park, it happens and then you just get on with it? Or, so we need to know, and then building a support system around you and all of those things those questions that people ask, incubation, people who have never been through it will be like, okay, it's just like any other normal baby. But then you have mortality rates, you have survival rates, and there's so many things that tie to it. Even the time you get to see and touch your baby, the emotional bits, so there's so much to it. And that's why I think you're the right person to talk to us today about premature awareness. So please go ahead and dish out your heart. What is your story?
Thank you so much. So today I'm going to be talking about prematurity. A premature baby, I'll start with who or what is a premature baby. So a premature baby is one that is born before the 37 weeks of pregnancy is completed. That's the WHO's description of who a premature baby is. Now, there are different categories or levels, we would say, of prematurity. So there are those who are born within 32 to 37 weeks. Those ones are called moderate to late premature babies. There are those who are born within the 28 to 32 weeks. Those are the preterm, the very preterm babies. And then there's the extremely preterm that is born before 28 weeks. So that's who a premature baby is. There are a lot of complications that have to do with being born premature. Most babies who are born at this stage have to go through intensive care to ensure that they go through some kind of incubated gestation. So that gestation period, the medical community tries to ensure that the baby still goes through that gestation period till they're okay, they're fine. So a bit about the challenges with prematurity. Why is prematurity such a big deal? You have a premature baby, I mean, it shouldn't really be a big deal. But the first thing we need to know is, one, the babies, the population of babies that are born premature is so large. 15 million babies every year are born premature. That's about 1 in 10 babies premature, pre-birth, all over the world. So it's a global problem. It's a problem that happens, anywhere, to any color, any race, wherever you are, it could happen to you. You could find yourself in that situation. And approximately 1 million children in each case have complications from the pre-birth. So, it could happen, that's in a year. Well, because of the condition of their birth, there are issues that come up from that situation. And some children now develop different kind of challenges, health challenges, learning challenges. So many things can come up from being a premature baby, because effectively the reality is that a baby born premature is not, let me use Nigerian language. It's like it's not done. You're cooking food and then the food is not done and you want to eat it. So if you want to talk about the baby is not fully formed. That's the best way to describe it in a layman's language. So many things happen to those babies, and sometimes it leads to death. Many times it leads to death, right? And then we'll talk about even when they survive, what kind of challenges do they face? Some of them face disabilities, some of them face learning challenges, they face hearing issues. So many things can come up even from that situation. Then there's also the challenge of feeding. There's also the challenge of prematurity being the leading cause of death among babies from the age of 1 to 5. So that's the #1 cause of death to babies. I find that very intriguing, because prematurity is something that, especially in our own environment, we don't really talk about it, but something that is a leading cause of death it should be spoken about on every street, on every platform, anywhere you have the opportunity to. You should do that, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you. It's so nice to see. Wow, it's kind of impressive with the statistics of how many babies actually survive. I know it's going to be worst case scenario in developing countries, because you said 1 out of 10 babies. I'm thinking in developing countries where there are no incubators, there are no facilities. It's going to be worse than the numbers we're seeing here. And then in the Western world, yes, we might say 1 in 10 babies. So what do you think? From your experience, do you think this is true statistics?
Yes, I think so. But like you said, it's more real in the developed world, and that is because of the level of development, the application of technology, and the availability of the facilities to care for these babies. So currently, a large proportion. I don't have the exact data, but there's research that says that most premature babies, even from 28 weeks and above, actually survive in the developed economies. But on the developing economy side, the reverse is the case. So the earlier a baby is born, the lower the possibility of survival. I'll give an example. When my baby was born, we were told that he had 50% chance of survival, straight up. From the day he was born. That's what we were told. And it's standard practice, you know, they let you know, okay, your baby's 28 weeks old. Sorry, that is about maybe like 20% chance of survival or 30% chance of survival. And that is the medical practitioners process of trying to manage your expectation because of the kind of facilities that they have available for them to manage the care. So those are the challenges that one faces with prematurity. I mean, I don't want to go into the emotional impact and the psychological impacts. That is something else that, you know, one needs to look at in terms of how it impacts on the parents, the family as a whole, and all that. But that's another situation.
Okay, thank you.
The challenges, the ordeals that parents go through. So I'm going to be talking about this mainly from largely from my own perspective. What did I face? What did I go through? What did we go through as parents of a premature baby? Well, for me, the first challenge was the fact that, okay, so talking about the challenges that parents go through with having a premature baby, I think some of the ordeals are, and I'm talking now from a Nigerian mother's perspective or a Nigerian parent's perspective. Now, the first challenge is just knowing the stress you go through in pregnancy, knowing that your baby has to be born premature due to certain complications in the pregnancy. So for me, for example, it was the issue of IUGR, which is intra-uterine growth restriction. Now, that is something, is a condition that prevents the baby from being fed within the womb over time, and so it stunts the growth of the baby. So you have a 32-weeker, and the scan is showing you that the baby is 28 weeks, you know. So, and then you keep checking and you see that, you know, the growth is not commensurate to the gestation age. There gets to a point at which the doctors say, you know what, we need to bring this baby out and know what's going on with it. Now, there are other complications that can arise in pregnancy that can lead to premature births. There can also be things like, there's a popular one of, I've forgotten. I only remember mine very clearly.
Yeah, I know. It's so much.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yes, but there are many complications. Some, you know, fall into emergency delivery. Some have that's preterm birth planned because of the mother's complications, high blood pressure, liver issues, complications from the mother, or complications with the baby's growth. Anyway, so that's
I just want to say, sometimes when people start bleeding, you know, almost close to, I think they try to quickly get the baby out before.
Get the baby out, yes. So it's, first of all, is that challenge of thinking that, you know, there's a health issue with your baby. You think about that, that's a challenge on its own. You have to deal with that. You also have to deal with the fear or the risk of the baby either surviving or dying. I mean, that was a risk that was standard every day for the 56 days that my baby was in the NICU. That's the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, right? It was there for 56 days, and we had to keep checking. Every day you come in to check on the baby, you're like, is he still alive? You know, so you can imagine that ordeal that the parents have to go through. Is he still alive? You know, what could have gone wrong? What are the issues that can happen? You know, so that's very important as well. And then there's also the fear of the issues that can come up, the complications from birth after the baby is born, after the baby has even been discharged. There are many complications. People will tell you the baby will not speak, the baby will not walk, the baby will not be able to learn, the baby can be disabled. You know, there are so many things that, one gets at as feedback when you have a premature baby. Then you're also worried about the cost of intensive care for the baby.
Okay.
If your baby has to go through intensive care, you know, that costs a lot. And you can imagine how many babies are born preterm, and what percentage of the population can actually afford that intensive care. So many babies get to die because their parents cannot afford the care. It's so sad. It's so sad. I had an incident while my baby was in intensive care too, and the parents' insurance care ran out.
Wow.
And you know, there was now the challenge of what do we do next? But thankfully, that baby is alive today. I'm happy to share that.
Glad. And there's also this big question about when will I have my premature? When will I be able to carry my baby home? You know, there's always that thing apart from you going in every day to check if the baby is still alive. There's also, when am I going to have my baby back? And you know, there's so many questions around dealing with premature babies and all of that. But I'm just wondering, how does it happen with premature? Is it that the mother starts feeling labor before the normal weeks? Or is it that for conditions, the doctors will definitely have to take the baby out? But in most cases, what do you think happens?
Yeah, I think it's both ways.
Is it?
I think it's both.
Okay.
Yes, it's both ways. Some fall into emergency labor. Some, you know, just happen all of a sudden. You know, maybe they're not ready. They haven't planned it and all that. It happens. Maybe just a slight monitoring of the situation, and then they find out that no, it's not happening. For somebody like me, mine was actually planned. We had a target of 39 weeks. That was my doctor's target. That was my gynecologist's target, because he had seen, we started monitoring from like 28 weeks, and we had known that there was a challenge. So he was like, okay, let's try and see, go on bed rest, do this, do that, take this shot and all that. He tried to manage the situation, but when he saw that it wasn't working anymore, he had to say, okay, you know what, we're taking this baby out at 32 weeks. That's the best I can do. Okay, so we're talking about challenges, right? Or the ordeals that parents face. There's also the challenge of the mother herself being ill. You just had the cesarean section, or you just had a baby. You just had a vaginal birth, and that itself is telling on your body as a mother. And it would have just been ideal to have a baby right beside you, and then you get better as the days go by. But if I'll use myself as an example, I didn't even have time to think that I just had a surgery. I just got up and I wanted to see my baby. So that's a challenge on its own, even for the mothers. And going with that as well is a lactation challenge. So because it's not yet time for you to have the baby, your body itself is also not ready. Many times, lactation does not occur. It doesn't come easily. And the twist to the story is your baby actually needs that breast milk.
Wow.
So there's that struggle. There's that struggle to get the milk out. You have to really struggle with it. You know, find different ways of...
It's a lot to take in. It's a lot. No, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, my goodness, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I could do a whole book on that.
Oh my goodness, it's a lot to take. Oh no. So how do they do it then? Do you have to take drugs and all of that, or?
You take everything. I mean, you have to keep trying. Fenugreek, you take OG, you take this, I took everything until I started throwing up, and then I said, you know what? I mean, I can only do my best. and the baby needs the milk. So that's where your pressure is coming from. You're thinking, I need to produce this milk for my baby, and your body is not able to do that yet, because it's still expecting, okay, still a few weeks away and all that. So that's a major challenge in developed countries. There are milk banks, right? So they use the milk from the milk banks to support the baby while you, the mother, begins to prepare for that.
Really? Didn't know that. Okay. Milk bank, like a human milk bank, not a cow milk bank.
Oh, yes.
Really? Yes. Wow.
You can buy milk.
You hear of blood bank, you hear of organ transplant and all this thing, but never heard of milk. Oh, so there are actually people who sit down there and then pump out.
Yeah.
Keeping. Oh, wonderful. That's a good cause, to be honest, because thinking about it now, it's just like blood donation. It is a good cause. Exactly. So it's going to be frozen for, oh, bless.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Even to do for one child, I know how you struggle. You're like, you have to catch your train, you have to do, and you'll be there pumping and keeping. Not to talk of.
Some people have it very easy, Some people lactate so easily. My sister-in-law's lactation was so much that her baby used to bath in the milk.
My goodness.
You can imagine.
Wow.
She used to bath her baby in her breast milk because it was too much. She has to be expressing and, because it was too much of the baby. Wow. So if we had that, for example, here on our end, I think it's only in South Africa that I have heard of the milk bank. But in the US, milk bank checks.
Really? Okay, that's a new one.
You can buy breast
human milk bank.
Yes, you can do that.
Well, there's nothing impossible now.
I would have bought milk if I could.
Oh,
at that point in time, I would have.
Well, that's another thing entirely, because I want to say, would it go through all the checks and all the? Because I didn't. I'm sure it would. But good to know. Good to know. Okay, okay. I'll take note of that.
Just the same way that blood is being assessed and taken through all the necessary assessments and checks before it is administered to people. That's the same way. Milk will be assessed as well. The donors will be checked to ensure that there's nothing that no health challenge that can be transferred to whoever takes the milk and all that. So that's very, very important as well. And then there's also the issue of lack of awareness. So in Nigeria, there's this air of ambiguity around having a premature baby. Nobody tells you that they've ever had a premature baby until you find yourself in that situation. I got a lot of information from the internet, from checking online and finding out, has anybody ever had a baby that was 800 grams? Has anybody ever had a baby that was, born at 32 weeks? What happens? What does it mean and all that? So that's why, I think that talking about prematurity is very important. I think it's valuable for everybody. You know that you're not alone. You know that you're not the first. You won't be the last, and many a times it's not really anybody's fault. It could happen to anyone. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. So viewers, if you're watching, we've just been bombarded with so much information overload, in fact, that I'm thinking I'm going straight into the internet now to find out some of these things that have been talked about. And so you've got comments out there, you've got questions, please type in the comment down below. The reason we're doing this is to get everyone aware of what could happen. Life happens. Nobody plans for some things that happen to us as humans. But then when it happens, you don't want to be left in the dark. You don't want to panic unnecessarily. You know what to do. You know what to expect. You know where to go for information. So this is a time for us to all learn, and even to build a support system around mothers who are expecting children, because anything can happen. So now, Togwa, thank you very much for this. Do you want to take us through how we can be of support. You know, if
Yeah.
people haven't gone through things, they don't know how to help others. But when you've gone
Yeah.
through it, then you know. And then you being in that position, you'll be able to tell people like who are going to be having their babies soon, or excuse me, or who are families, how to help babies or the parents of babies who have been born prematurely.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I think the greatest support that anybody can give, that you can give someone who has a premature baby, is just to be there for them. And being there for them is on their terms. What would they want you to do for them?
Okay.
You know, because there's a lot of uncertainty around having that baby. They are living sort of on a day-to-day basis. So they can't really tell you, oh, this is what I want, or this is it. But, you know, you can support them. Just, first of all, maybe, I mean, the most practical way is to help to get them food. The last thing a premium mom wants is to cook. That's the last thing she wants to do. She doesn't even think about that, you know. But, you know, coming to the hospital with them, being with them, spending time, you know, listening to them, giving them support on the home front, saying, okay, how can I help you? Maybe if they have other kids, you could help, you know, manage the other kids. You could help, you know, ensure that the home front is running while they go look after the baby in the incubator. You could also assist them with some kind of funds. If you have cash you want to give to them, it's always welcome, because neonatal care bills are very huge. I can tell you, wherever you are in the world, it's expensive to have a premature baby. That's another kind of support. Sometimes the babies are born far away from where the parents live, so parents have to sort of look for accommodation near the hospital to be able to go often to see the child. If you have, you know, accommodation that you can give to the baby, that is something that is also to the parents while their baby is in intensive care. Then that's also something that you can consider. And I think that the greatest support will be from employers and the government. So employers first to give the nursing mothers the time and the understanding that, you know, this situation is different from a natural maternity situation, the regular maternity situation, right? So there might be a need to give more time for the maternity leave. There might be a need to understand the mother's inability to resume at work when she's supposed to, you know, because of these challenges. And then the governments, especially in our developing communities here, in the developing economies, there is the need to focus on prematurity, the provision of facilities and training of medical personnel to ensure that we build our capability to ensure that these babies survive. So, for example, Nigeria has the third largest population of premature births. I think I saw a statistic of about 700,000 babies were born premature in Nigeria in 2018 or 2017. I'm not sure what year that was. But imagine that volume, that number of babies being born. How many incubators do we have in Nigeria? How many ventilating machines? How many neonatal personnel do we have in Nigeria? How much facilities? What's the capability that we have? I can tell you that is something that needs to be looked into. So generally, those are the ways that people can support prematurity. And lastly, please talk about prematurity. If you know anybody who has a premature baby, let them know that it is not an unusual thing. It is not something that brings bad luck, or it's because of whatever spooky situation, but it's part of life. life. It's to really life. And babies and premature babies are awesome gems from God. Thank you.
Oops, yeah, you've gone. All right. Yeah, so, you know, when we got talking, we're talking about, sometimes some children that are, you know, prematurely born could be termed as, they're Gwanje or they're whatever, because their parents have to spend a lot of money on them when they're born. Just like you were talking about, the cost of the care is a lot of money. Imagine you giving birth to a child and you have a 50-50 chance. And most people who are not well-to-do will just think, okay, I think I'll rather give up on this and let's end it. Let's stop the incubation because I'm spending too much on this and I'm not sure what's going to come out at the end of the day, you know. So there's so many societal thinking about it that we need to re-educate ourselves about, that, you know, it's nobody's fault. It's like you said, it's not that you've done something wrong. It's just life happens. Life happens. So the more we get the word out there that premature babies and their families need support, especially with the cost, with the mother's health. You imagine someone who has just gone through surgery and you have to operate on someone else, like maybe a doctor. That is how I see it. You have your own needs. You have you have your own body to take care of, but you're even neglecting that, going after another human. And so the mothers are really at a stage where they need all the help they can get. And, you know, all the hormones are kicking in. I can just imagine, you know, the hormones are kicking in after. That's why some people talk about post birth trauma. You know, I don't know if you've heard of post-birth. Yeah. Imagine, it's so much. It's so much women, we are strong. I just realizing that we are strong beings. We're not weak vessels. We might be weak in some aspect, maybe emotionally, but man, we are strong beings. Thank God for us. And, you know, talking about the disruption to the human body, you talked about, you know, the body is not fully done. It's taking its time to lactate, to bring out milk, and then you're struggling with how to get food into the baby, and so much. I wish I could just stay here forever and just listen to you about so many things you've introduced here, even with our little talk about human milk bank. Never heard of that. I know so many of our viewers too will be hearing this for the first time. Some, it's not new to them, and this is why we do this, so we can educate ourselves. Be aware of the support we can give to people when they face this. So today, as we have talked about awareness on prematurity, let us all put our support system together. Let's all be there for one another and help people who are going through this. Some people, all they know is the hospital home every day for, I don't know how long the baby will be in the hospital, and it's a lot. And then there's still money that needs to be spent. So let's. So do you have like a charity or an organization that you think, if people are just listening to this and are thinking, I didn't know, maybe they had someone who went through it, and I didn't know this person went through so much, and they are now feeling, I need to support this cause. I need to support premature baby awareness program. Do you have like a charity or where they can help to fund this kind of program, so that people who need help can get the help when it is needed?
Okay, so what we do currently is we use our Premature Jewels platform on Instagram and Twitter to create awareness. And that is where people who have challenges with either raising funds, we've assisted people with challenges with raising funds or support, any kind of support that they require to do that. We currently do not have accounts specifically for that, so we do it on a needs basis. We just open up a channel and ask people to donate. That's what we do currently.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any final words before we go? Is there anything you want us to put in our minds as we've listened to you? Anything you want us to go with? Your final words on this episode of Prematurity Awareness.
So my final words will be that let's talk more about preterm births. Let's talk more about premature babies. Let's create awareness as often as we can, because it helps the families to access care better. It makes it open to society, and it takes away the mystery around prematurity, especially within the Nigerian environment.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time here, and thank you very much for creating time out of no time to educate us. I really appreciate your time, Tokwe. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Now, viewers, you've heard it all, and we know there will be so many questions coming out of this. So if you've got questions, you've got comments, please write them down, and she will be ready to answer all of your questions. She's been through it, so she has all the experience, and she's in a network of people who have been through it. So, you know, this is the right person to ask about different questions that might come up in your mind about preterm. Some call it preterm, some call it preemies. Is it preemies or preemies? Preemie, babe. What do you?
Yes, preemies.
Preemies. Okay, so there's so many posh names for them. Just in case you hear it.
Preemies.
Preemies, yes.
I think it's an American term, really.
Yeah. So preemies, preterm, premature. Please, let's all play our role in making sure so that babies can have more chances of survival through the equipment and resources and support to parents. Thank you very much for being here with us, and I wish you all the best in your endeavors. Thank you very much for coming. I wish you and your family the best of life, and more testimonies, more good news you will have, and your child shall grow to be mighty in the land, be a voice in his generation, in the name of the Lord Jesus. Amen. Amen. Thank you very much for doing this. Amen. Thank you very much, viewers, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.